Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
To all our viewers tuning in today, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ask Huda. I'm your host, Fuad Muhammad. We welcome in today's show as well our dear and respected Islamic scholar, Dr. Mohamed Salah. Assalamu alaikum, Doctor, and welcome to Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Fuad. Jazakallahu khairan.
Just a quick reminder for our telephone numbers, 00-202-38555, 248 or 249, or you can send us an email at ask@huda.tv. Doctor, our first question here is from Brother Muhammad from Sierra Leone, and he says, can someone make tawaf, which is circumambulation around the Kaaba, whilst the Imam is delivering the Friday sermon?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyihi wa Mustafa, Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah, thumma amma ba'd. While the khatib is given or delivering the khutbah, whether that is in Mecca, or in the prophetic masjid, or any masjid on earth, everybody should sit down and listen attentively, due to the sound reference in which the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِذَا قُلْتَ لِصَاحِبِكَ وَالْإِمَامُ يَخْطُبْ صِحْ فَقَدْ لَغَوْتَ. If you see somebody who's talking or playing, fidgeting his clothes, or doing anything that is distracting his own attention from the Friday sermon, so you try to calm him down or stop him by saying, be quiet, the Imam is talking. You yourself, your khutbah will be void. This is an intensive prohibition that you should not be talking at all during the khutbah. You should not be doing any unnecessary move whatsoever. And when somebody enters the masjid and the khatib is delivering the Friday sermon, is not supposed to greet the musallin or even say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The only one thing that is permissible while the khatib is giving the khutbah, if we assume that somebody came late, and I hope that he would only have to come late for a valid reason, or otherwise, there is a serious warning against that, because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, the angels stand by the door of the masjid to record the names of those who will come to attend the Friday khutbah and prayer, first, then second, then third, and so on. And once the Imam climbs the minbar and says Assalamu alaikum, then the angels would fold the records and would enter the masjid to attend the khutbah. So now, if somebody came late, he is permitted to pray Tahiyatul Masjid, or the greeting of the masjid, due to the sound hadith fi Sahih al-Imam Bukhari, and according to the more right view. 2 light rak'ahs and sit down. So, if the khatib is given the khutbah in Mecca, those who are performing tawaf should sit down and listen to the khutbah as well. This is the more right view, because there is another view which is adopted by Imam al-Shafi'i and also Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him, in which he says that that while the person is performing tawaf, he is also listening to the khutbah, so there is no conflict of interest. But as I said, the more right view in this regard is, once the khatib says Assalamu alaikum, everybody, even those who are performing tawaf, sit down in your place and listen to the khutbah. Hada Allahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair, Doctor. We have Sister Mona from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda. Questions, please.
One question. I would like to know that if a man, husband pronounced divorce once, the wife is divorced, or he needs to tell 3 times. And if the husband says twice, is she divorced, or can she stay with the husband because she is not divorced because the husband did not pronounce it 3 times?
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Sister Mona there from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Also have Sister Saud from Oman. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have got 3 questions today.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the first question is someone who's fasting without praying. And I happened to tell her that if you're fasting without praying, it's just like you're starving yourself.
Okay.
She said, no, you can't say that because 5 pillars of Islam, it's obligatory. Praying, it's obligatory as well as fasting.
Okay.
So inshallah, if I'm fasting without praying, it is accepted by Allah. It's like an exam paper. If you're being given 5 questions and you have answered 4 and you didn't answer 1, it doesn't mean that the rest are voided.
Okay.
So please, I would like Sheikh to comment on that and to give me how can I answer her in this regard.
Okay.
And my second question is, a woman while praying, is it a must that she has to cover her feet, means like wearing the socks?
Okay.
Okay.
And the third question is, if a lady has got 2 sons, and the third child, he happens to like adopt a child, and she did second a child, a girl.
Okay.
Does that girl inherit?
She adopted the 3rd child, which is a girl.
A girl. Does that girl inherit?
Okay.
Is she allowed to inherit because due to cycling?
Got it.
Also, does those eldest brothers, do they become immediately the mahram?
Okay.
Can she travel with them everywhere?
Okay. Jazakallah
right.
khair,
Thanks.
Sister Saud there from Oman. We also have Brother Mohammed from the UAE. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah. How are you, brother?
Fine, alhamdulillah. Sheikh, this is regarding putting money in Islamic bank. So all these years I had put my money in conventional bank, but I was not taking any interest. But recently I was listening to a lecture of a Sheikh regarding Islamic difference between Islamic and conventional banking, where he told that it is haram to put money in the conventional bank because it helps the non-Muslims.
Okay.
So my question is whether it is haram or we can have money in the conventional bank.
Okay.
And one more thing is like I also heard that if you put money in the Islamic bank, there are chances like if the bank didn't perform its duty, there are chances that we might also lose what money we put in, apart from the profit or loss. But whatever we have invested, even that might also be lost.
Okay.
So I just want to clarify on that also.
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Muhammad there from the UAE. Sister Noor from Sudan, she asked, if someone is reciting the Quran when the azan is sounded, what he or she should do? Should they leave the recitation?
Reciting the Quran is a voluntary act of worship. It is highly recommended, of course, and it has great virtues. And also listening to the adhan and repeating after the mu'adhin is similarly a highly recommended act of worship. But here is an interesting fact, which is, since both of them are recommended, this one is limited with a certain time, the later on, which is listening to the adhan,
Yes.
right? You cannot just play the adhan a while later and listen to it off time and repeat after it and get the same reward. In the sound hadith, which is agreed upon its authenticity, the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا سَمِعْتُمُ الْمُؤَذِّنَ فَقُولُوا مِثْلَ مَا يَقُولُ. Whenever you hear the mu'adhin who's calling the adhan, then repeat after him, say as he say exactly. Then, in another hadith, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whosoever says after the mu'adhin finishes his adhan, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad, send the peace and salutation upon the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him peace and blessings 10 more times. Then the dua of Allahumma rabba hadhihi ad-da'wati at-tamma was-salati al-qa'imah ati Muhammadan al-wasilata wal-fadila wab'athhu maqaman mahmudan alladhi wa'adta. If you recite this dua after adhan and after repeating after the mu'adhin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you the intercession of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Hallat lahu shafa'ati," or "Wajabat lahu shafa'ati." The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "My intercession will be due for him, or he will be eligible for my intercession on the Day of Judgment." So this is only available upon hearing the mu'adhin. So that's why it's recommended when you hear the adhan to pause your recitation, where you can perfectly resume afterward, inshallah.
Okay, and Sister Raihana from Qatar, she says, my sister's husband deserted her. She later on got the divorce from the Islamic court, but this was after months, right? She wants to know how long should be her the idda period or the waiting period for her sister?
Okay, I guess let's join this with the sister Mona's question from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia about divorce and the proper way of divorce and so on. First of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, الطلاق مرتان. Unlike what most people think, that divorce is 3 times. No. The reversible or revocable divorce is only 2 times. The first and the second time. Where there will be a idda and a waiting period for the wife that she has to wait. She cannot accept any proposals, and her husband has the right to revoke that divorce or reverse it without a new contract, without even the consent of the wife or the divorced woman, because she's still already in his isma. She's considered as his wife. She is just waiting for the period that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala designated. So the first and the second divorce is revocable. And then if he afterward divorced her the third time, فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان فإن طلقها فلا تحل له من بعد حتى تنكح زوجا غيره. This is it. After the third time, this divorce is not only irrevocable, it's also after the iddah is over, he will not be able to marry her again, even if she agrees, not even with a new contract, not unless if she marries somebody else and she lives a marriage life, a complete marriage life, consummate the marriage and so on, without pre-arranging or planning this marriage in order to file for a divorce so that you can go to her first husband or ex-husband. While in the waiting period after the first and the second divorce, which we call it طلاق رجعي, reversible, revocable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن ولا يخرجن إلا يأتين بفاحشة مبينة. That's another fact that most people are not aware of, or maybe they are aware and they neglect it. If somebody divorces his wife for the first or the second time, that doesn't mean that he will kick her out or she will decide on her own to go to her family's house or leave home. No. According to the Quranic ruling in the Sharia, she must stay at the same house with her husband who just divorced her for the entire iddah or waiting period, which we'll address momentarily. Why? لعل الله يحدث بعد ذلك أمرا. This is what the Quran says. Perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reconcile between them afterward, after he divorced her and now he calms down. The Sharia instructs the woman to dress up nicely, to wear up the nice makeup, and in an attempt to reconcile, and many cases have been reconciled due to following strictly the guidance of the Quran in this regard. The Quran says, لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن ولا يخرجن. It is not up to the husband nor the wife to leave the house. No, they must stay in the same house and eat together and talk to each other and so on. They are separated temporarily. So after the waiting period is over, if he did not revoke nor reverse that divorce and ask her to come back to his custody, then that becomes a permanent divorce. Whereupon she would have to leave, or he would have to leave based on their agreement whether she have children or not. Then afterward, she's free on her own if she wants to get married again with the consent of her wali. And if the same person wanted to remarry her again, he simply will have just to process a new marriage contract. If it was after the second and the first and the second, and after the iddah. Now let's talk a little bit about the iddah and how long it is, the waiting period. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوء. The divorced women should wait for 3 quru'. According to the more right opinion concerning the explanation of the literal meaning of the word quru', its singular is qur', it refers to al-hayd or the period. So once a woman is divorced, the waiting period would begin as follows. She has to experience the first menstruation. Then after she's clean out of it, she waits until the next period. Then after it is over, she waits for the third period. And after the third period is over, the iddah is over. That if he does not recover or if he does not revoke the divorce within this time. Okay. There is another case, which is, what if the woman is pregnant? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ أَجَلُهُنَّ أَن يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنَّ. The case is different. Then we will not go by the 3 periods or the 3 months. Rather, we will go by the delivery. So if somebody divorced his wife today, and she gives birth an hour later, then this divorce, the iddah was only an hour. She doesn't have to wait for 3 months. Similarly, or on the other hand, if somebody divorces his wife and she's pregnant, and she just found out today that she's pregnant, that means delivery will be approximately 9 months from now. So the iddah is not 3 periods, not 3 months anymore. Rather, it is until she gives birth. Let it take 8, 9, or maybe more than 9 months. In case that the woman has a menopause, or she had an operation, remove the uterus or whatever, so in this condition, the iddah will be only 3 months. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair, Doctor. We have Brother Rashid from Denmark. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live and ask your questions, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I've got 3 questions to ask.
Okay.
The first one is regarding, I have a friend of mine who converted to Islam about a while ago, 6 months ago, if I recall.
Okay.
Now, he, for example, we are told in the Quran that we are allowed to eat what is in the sea. And also from the Prophet ﷺ that we are allowed to eat what is in the sea. Now the question is that, are we allowed to eat like crabs, lobsters, and things like that?
Okay.
Or is it just fish, just normal fish? My second question is regarding the witr prayer. If we have to recite the witr prayer loud or in a slow voice.
Okay.
And my third question is regarding music. Is music allowed in Islam or is it haram?
Okay. Okay, Jazakallah khair, Brother Rashid. They're from Denmark. Barakallah fiqh, brother. Doctor, if you want to, Sister Mona's question, she wanted to know if the person says divorce once and divorce thrice. What does it mean? Did the divorce happen once or thrice?
According to Al-Jumhur, the vast majority of the scholars said if somebody says to his wife, you're divorced, you're divorced, you're divorced, 3 times in the same sitting, according to the vast majority, this divorce is effective at 3 times. Why? Because he expedited something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a respite in it, which is as we explain in details. And why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَعَلَّ اللَّهِ يُحْدِثُ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ أَمْرًا. Why he commanded the divorcee or the divorced woman to stay in the same house with her ex-husband for the iddah period. Perhaps there will be a mean of reconciliation. But when somebody says 3 times, then she's divorced. Obviously, other imams such as Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah have mercy on him, have considered that in the same sitting as one single divorce. And currently, Wallahu a'lam, this is the more right opinion, because the person does not really mean to divorce his wife 3 times. So we don't want to ruin the marriage life in a word. And sometimes he does not even understand the consequences of saying, you're divorced, you're divorced, you're divorced. And that is, by the way, considered as talaqun bid'i. Because at-talaq, according to the sunnah even regulated the process of talaq. That one should not divorce his wife whenever he wants. No. Number one, if she is in her menses or PMS, he should not divorce his wife, because she's going through certain psychological changes and hormonal imbalance and so on, or the mood is not really the best, so he should wait until the iddah is over. Then, if he is still insisting on divorcing her, he should not contact her sexually. Because after the iddah is over, if he happened to embrace her in bed or sexually, then in this condition, he should wait until the next period, and after it's over, he is allowed to divorce his wife. So divorce outside these times is considered as a bid'i divorce, where the husband will be committing a sin, but the divorce will be effective.
Okay, we have an interesting question here from Sister Aisha. She says, is it essential for a Muslim to love Allah? Because she says, when the name of Allah is mentioned, I only fear Him and fear His punishment. She says, but I have love for the Prophet and the companions. I feel that love when I hear their stories and so forth. But when it comes to Allah, I only fear Him. What should I do?
You really need to read a lot, to read the Quran and to read many of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in order to get to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We just finished a very important course of Aqidah, where the most important part of Aqidah after believing in the Lordship of Allah and the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the unity of His worship is the unity of His beautiful names and attributes. Simply, I can assure you that you do not know any of the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. في Surah Al-A'raf in verse number 56, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَادْعُوهُ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا. Look at the balance. And call upon Him out of khawf wa tama', fear and hope. There is always a balance between hope and fear when it comes to our relationship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because in every verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked or addressed heaven, He also mentioned the fire of hell. And whenever He said that my punishment is very severe, He said my mercy is great. And in this particular verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَادْعُوهُ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا إِنَّ رَحْمَةَ اللَّهِ قَرِيبٌ مِّنَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Indeed, Allah's mercy is near to the good doers. And perhaps you don't know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created mercy, He divided it into 100 parts. All the mercy and the love and compassion which we have on earth is only out of the 1% that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descended on earth. And He preserved for Himself 99 part of this mercy in order to cover His believers with. So He is the most merciful. He is the beneficent. And in the sound hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the universe, the heavens and the earth, He wrote a book by His own hand. كتب كتابا فهو عنده, and He saved it beneath His throne. What is the contents of this kitab or record? The contents is a phrase that says, إِنَّ رَحْمَتِي سَبَقَتْ غَضَبِي. My mercy surpassed, overcome my anger. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you can never be a believer if you do not love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obviously more than anything else, including yourself. If you love a Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, why? Because of what you read about him. This is what you just admitted. Okay, and who appointed Muhammad as a prophet? Who sent him to us? And he sent all the messengers before him. Who descended the books to guide us? It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how would you come the creature more than Allah? How would you love the creature more than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, our most beloved creature, our most beloved human being and prophet, is created and appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So our love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be the greatest, of course.
Okay, we have Brother Nair from Greece. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah. My question is regarding heaven.
Okay.
Like a Muslim, we will be judged by, Allah Almighty.
Mm-hmm.
And what about the Prophet? Will they also be judged like this? And if yes, they will be judged. And how come Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he went to the heavens, he found, different prophets there?
Okay.
So how come this? Because I'm confused with this thing.
Okay. Jazakallah khair. Interesting question there, Brother Nair from Greece. Brother Muhammad from the Kingdom, he says, if I couldn't enter the haram, how can I perform tawaf?
If you cannot enter the haram, then you wait until you can enter the haram. Because you do not perform tawaf around. Look, even technically speaking, that if you find it difficult to enter the haram, then I assure you it is impossible to walk a few meters outside. So what about performing tawaf outside the haram? You can't. So it is conditioned to perform the tawaf inside the haram while seeing the Kaaba, beginning from the black stone corner and ending up at the black stone corner. If it is not possible at this prayer time, you wait until people pray the Jama'ah, half hour later, many or most of the crowd would leave the masjid. Then those who are awaiting outside in order to perform tawaf or sa'i or whatever will be able to have an access to the haram. You cannot just come to right or prayer before the iqamah and say, I want to enter the haram. It is impossible. It's very hard even in regular days. There is certain capacity for the haram. So you gotta wait until the prayer is over, then you will be definitely able to enter afterward.
Okay, we have Brother Ahmed from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam, brother Fad. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Sheikh, my maternal aunt's husband is in the ICU. Please do dua.
Okay, inshallah.
Sheikh, my question is, when my aunt was waiting in the waiting room, where other serious patients, family members were also waiting, a non-Muslim came to her and said, "We are praying for our patient. You give us your patient's name. We will pray for him also."
Okay.
In this case, what should have my aunt said?
Okay.
That's my question.
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Brother Ahmed there from Qatar. Brother Muhammad's second question, he says, is it okay for us to wear perfumes with alcohol?
This is an issue that is disputed between the scholars, and we discussed it before repeatedly. Those who said it is prohibited due to the argument that they believe that alcohol is impure in itself. And those who said, no, it is not impure in itself, they said what's prohibited is its drinking, not wearing it. And they also argued that the alcohol which is used as a base or a vehicle for perfumes is not the same alcohol which is prepared for drinking. So many of the scholars said it is permissible to wear such alcohol-based perfume.
Okay, we have Brother Labib from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You live and ask other questions, please.
Yes, this is Naveed calling.
Okay.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
In Quran, Surah Kaf with 2 dots.
Okay.
It's mentioned that there is Kareem with everybody.
It is mentioned?
There is, there are 2 angels or Kareem, which are writing everything.
Okay.
And they will take you to hell and heaven, and there will be evidence against you on the day of judgment.
Okay.
So I want to ask a little bit about, to elaborate this
Okay, are you talking about the verse which reads as ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد?
Yes.
Okay. We'll cover that inshallah after the break.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Brother Labib there from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We'll take a short break here on Ask Huda, and we'll be back right after this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.